The person that gets in, this isn't the person applying, this isn't the person you're necessarily competing with, this is the person that gets in, average, 3.6 cumulative GPA. Please don't walk out of the room if you don't have that, you still have a chance, it's okay. 3.5 science. All right, stats. So this is what everybody's talking about and what everybody's asking about because they're like, okay, this is all that matters, and it's not. But it does really matter. So GPA, obviously grade point average, cumulative, science, prerequisite. Usually cumulative and science are kind of what's going to matter. Is it hard to calculate? Not really, but science versus not science, that might be a little bit tricky. But basically calculating it is quite easy. I can make a whole video on how to do that. And then Casper will just do it for you anyway. So there's that. Patient care experience. So this is high quality versus medium quality versus low quality versus what counts as patient care versus healthcare versus just nothing. Like research, for instance, is not patient care. If you're not patient facing, you're not actually working with patients medically, like you're a front desk person, that's healthcare, that's not patient care, that kind of thing. I've seen this range from 0 all the way up to 2,000 minimum. So kind of know where you are and also how fast, like you were saying, how fast you can get more hours. Volunteering. A lot of schools like to see a pattern of community involvement, that you care about something more than yourself and your grades, right? You care about, it doesn't have to be medicine. You don't have to like feed homeless people. You don't have to do mission trips. You could pet dogs and walk dogs like I did for like 1,000 hours. It doesn't matter as long as you care about something, right? So you could do that. Do all schools require a certain number of hours? No. All schools do want a commitment to the community, but some schools legitimately have like 100, 200 hours minimum volunteer. So when you're perusing their websites, definitely check that. And if you don't have that, definitely be sure to apply to programs that you do qualify for. Same thing with shadowing. Some schools require it, some schools do not. I personally think every school should require at least a good 50 hours of shadowing for at least 3 PAs. Why do I say that? How do you possibly know you want to do this for 40 years or 50 years if all you've done is you shadowed a PA at the urgent care one time for 2 hours? Just how, literally. Like people do more research on the car they're about to buy than on the career they're about to commit their entire life to. So like, for goodness sake, please shadow. As a PA, as someone who's been doing this a long time, please shadow. 1, it'll look good on your application, even if it's not required. 2, it'll give you so much fodder for personal statements, for interviews, for references, for jobs, for rotations. Just go shadow, please. Definitely very important. Also, how do you shadow if you have no connections, you're new in town? Pound the pavement. Go to every single urgent care, every single primary care office, every single outpatient specialty office, the emergency room, everywhere, and just be like, hi, I'm a pre-PA or a pre-med student. I would love to shadow every provider, every nurse, every kind of person that works here. And they'd be like, okay, you're a little enthusiastic, but anyway, let's get you on the board, let's do this, let's get your HIPAA assigned, and they'll do it for you, right? At least somebody will. You go to 100 places, someone will, right? That's exactly what I did. Like the moment I decided, I'm extremely impulsive. The moment I decided I wanted to do this, I literally drove through the rain. I was in Hawaii at the time, it was like a monsoon, really dangerous, really dumb. I was in a Mini Cooper, like over the mountain, to Tripler Army Hospital at the ER, walked in there soaked in my little uniform, just pasted on me. And they were like, can we help you? Are you dying? I'm like, no, I want to shadow. And they're like, what's wrong with you? But like here, email major English tomorrow, we'll get you set up with shadowing, go home, warm up. I was like, yes, sir. So anyway, yeah, if you're motivated, go do that. Okay, this, super important. So about stats. If you haven't seen this article, please see this article. The PA Life, who gets into PA school in 2025. This was actually done a couple years ago. I think it was 2023 they published this. But anyway, the person that gets in, this isn't the person applying, this isn't the person you're necessarily competing with, this is the person that gets in, average, 3.6 cumulative GPA. Please don't walk out of the room if you don't have that, you still have a chance, it's okay. 3.5 science, 303, which is essentially right around 300 average GRE score. Long history, quote unquote, of volunteer work, which we don't know what that means, 100 hours, 10 hours, 1,000 hours. 2 hours, again, this is vague, of full-time work as clinical experience, but almost nobody that I've come across, and I've reviewed well over 1,000 applications, almost nobody has 4,000 hours. Almost nobody. So 2 years of clinical experience probably means in undergrad they were a CNA, they were a scribe, they did things on the weekends, they might have like 1,000, right? They might have like 700. But they're saying 2 years of full-time work. Oh, no, I'm sorry, they're saying 2 years of experience, not 2 years of full-time. So either way, my experience is it's usually around 1,000 that people get in with. If they're younger, they just got out of college. This says, more than that. Take that for what you will. Long history, again, volunteering just means you have to do some. Please have something that you care about outside of school. But does it have to be a lot of hours unless your school requires it? Not necessarily. Any questions thus far? Yes.
For volunteering, if you did some, like, would they prefer to see that you did it recently, or could you add up, like, something you have even done in high school through now?
Yeah, I mean, if you volunteered when you were 6 years old, put that in there, because that's technically.
It counts.
Yeah, if you volunteered at any point throughout your life, put it in there.
Okay.
They might be like, okay, this was literally 20 years ago, what's happening here? But it technically counts.
Okay.
You know, if somehow as a 6-year-old you were working at a primary care office and you were taking blood pressure, that's PCE, right? So I don't see why it wouldn't count. It might be illegal, but it should count. So where are we? Stats, compare, long history. Were we talking about volunteering? Or what were we talking about? Oh yeah, so this literally just says long history of volunteer work. So would it look better, let's say you're admissions, right? And you're saying like, I want someone who cares about the community. Would it look better to you to have someone who did like Habitat for Humanity and blood drives in high school, and then all through college they were doing stuff consistently? Or someone who like last minute in freaking February and March, the year they applied, really, really quickly went and like fed a bunch of homeless people? Like who genuinely cares about this stuff and who kind of doesn't? That being said, if you don't have a single volunteer hour, go feed some homeless people, right? Go do something. But, you know, just get some hours. And then, like, it's also understandable. If you're working your way through school, you need money. You're, like, trying to graduate early. Like, not everybody has volunteer hours. Everybody's different. Don't feel like just because something on this list of stats isn't exactly what you have does not mean that it's hopeless. It just means this is the average, okay? You might be stellar in some other way, or you might not be right now, but you will be. So, again, don't worry. But this is just kind of the stuff to focus on. These are the people that do get it. Yes.
I was just gonna ask, for volunteer work, like, do they look that you have like a volunteer opportunity that's like steady, or like does it not really matter? Like, I could volunteer here, 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 and here, or do they want something like I go every Friday to wherever? Like,
case by case. You know, if you're lucky enough to have every Friday free, where you don't have to work, or you don't have to take care of a sick relative, or you don't have like a lab, yeah, maybe you'd be able to do that. But is that required? Would it be fair to make that a requirement? No. It's just whatever you can do. Right? Like when I was getting my volunteer work, I was literally in the military, right? So if I like have to go stand watch or if I have to go do something, they're not going to be like, oh wait, why weren't you volunteering on Thursday? Like, I don't know, I was serving my nation. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I still got it. So it really doesn't matter as long as you just kind of show that you care consistently. Even like once a month, you want to go do something.
okay,
It's not like, don't read into it too much.
okay.
Right? It doesn't have to be that consistent. Yeah.
I know you kind of talked about this, like, would somebody who volunteered in like a medical area be like more above someone who did like animals or something else?
I don't think so. I mean, as someone that cares about animals, probably not. No, I mean, Habitat for Humanity, again, it doesn't matter. Like, what I really would like you guys to get away from on the whole volunteer front and just on the whole application is less on what's competitive and what looks good and just more what you care about, right? Like, let's say you finally make it to the interview and they ask you about, okay, so I saw you like were walking dogs. And you'd be like, yeah, it was good. I walked them. Or like they ask someone like me and I'm like, oh yeah, man, like their tails are wagging like every time I came in and their prompter belly. Like someone like visibly cares about what they do, right? So just do what you want to do. As long as it's volunteer. Yeah, just again, do what you want to do. Just pretend you're already at the interview process and it's just something that you will talk about passionately because it's what you genuinely care about. That's how you choose things. What else? Okay, so how do your stats compare? So when you look at these average stats, identify where you might be below average, where you might be above average. If you're not above average anywhere, try to get above average. Let's say you graduated already, your GPA is, I don't know, 3.4. Not tragic, it beats the minimum for everything, but it's not exactly super competitive. Go get a ton of hours. Go get a ton of volunteer. Start pounding the pavement and talking to all these admissions places. Like, do stuff that the person with like a 3.9 might not have to do. Maybe go study really hard for the PA CAT and just ace that. And now you just opened up 20 programs that nobody else can apply to, right? Like that kind of thing. So just kind of start thinking strategically instead of just, these are my stats, I'm going to apply, and whoever takes me, takes me. Like that's not a winning strategy. A winning strategy is kind of like trying to be as specific as possible for where you might be more likely to get in. So yeah, we talked about that. Okay, also, let's say you do have some strengths. You're not like starting from behind the eight ball. Let's say you actually have a super high GPA, but like 0 hours. Go get the minimum hours, but then also when you're choosing your schools, because you're not going to apply to 300 schools, that's too expensive. When you're choosing the schools that you're applying to, find the ones that have lower PCE requirements and higher minimum GPAs and also higher average GPAs of the previous classes, because they obviously care about GPA. You got a 3.8, apply to the schools where the average was like 3.7, 3.6, 3.8 is kind of high. But apply to those schools that just characteristically like high GPAs. They're gonna like you, right? If you don't have a super high GPA, or even if you do, but you have like a stellar number of hours for some reason, right? You've been a CNA on weekends and on holidays, and in the summer since you were a freshman, now you got like 2,500 hours. That's better than most, especially most in your age category. So they'd be like, wow, this is cool. And also you can unlock programs that have a higher minimum hours requirement. I've seen as high as like 2,000 or even 3,000. If you can qualify for those, a lot of people you're competing with literally cannot even apply. So that's how you want to start thinking. Where's the smallest pool of applicants that I could place myself into and be competitive? So yeah, the point is go where you are wanted, go where they want applicants like you. Super high grades, super high experience, other characteristics, that kind of a thing. And again, just a reminder, programs have weird little requirements. Some really care about volunteers, some really care about shadowing. Read their website where it says admissions requirements. Read where it says all the requirements, go all the way down to the bottom. Make sure you're not missing anything, because if they require 100 volunteer and you don't have it, doesn't matter how high your GPA is, boom, you're not looked at because you don't meet the requirements. So make sure you're thorough. Yes and yes.
Oh no, I was just pulling my hair, sorry.
Oh,